during August '61 we were on holidays in Norway, and one day I saw in a newspaper a picture of the Brandenburger Tor with a wall before, and I couldn't believe what is this? And then we heard they have shut up the border, and we broke our holiday. We went back, and I went suddenly to Berlin to see the situation. Meanwhile, I had a letter from a friend, a student of the East, and he told me that's all finished, he cannot study more, and so on. And I first went to the border, to see the border, and it was very interesting. It was in Kreuzberg. There were American and Russian tanks directly on the line, the tanks of the American in direction east, and the Russian tanks not in direction west, but also in direction east. Why? Yes, it was clear. The wall was not against the fascist invaders, but it were against their own people, and so they had to keep them, not that they don't leave the sector. There were two students, friends of mine, of Barbara, and they were in the east, and we knew they want to go over the border to finish their studies, but how to do it?
Übergang zur U-Bahn-Linie 55 zum regionalen Fernverkehr. Ausstieg links.
We heard of a possibility to bring out persons from east to west, and we thought it would be with our friends. We could do it with our friends, but then we had to know the plan of the station to do this. In the basement there were corridors, we had to use them, but it was very, very difficult because it was nearly absolutely dark. But we learned the distance, and we followed the corridors, and the corridors ended in a stair which went up to the platform where the trains from West Berlin came in and ended. For the people of Western Germany, they used the S-Bahn to visit East Berlin, and we had to go together with them as if we entered in this moment from West Berlin, but we had already our papers to leave the sector, and this we hide it, and we got new papers, so we had two papers, and then when we went out we had to give one back, and one she had it in her bra, and we had an identity card and the paper belonging to this identity card. And in the first station in West Berlin, we get this two Persian students. They were specialist and they took out our passport picture and did made the new picture of those people we want to bring out. So then they had used a new identity card with a belonging paper. Problem was to bring this into the east sector and to give it to them. It was not possible to do this on the street. There were always Stasi, that was very, very dangerous. We bought tickets for the opera house. And there are many people and there it's possible. And a friend of us, a student, an American student, the American could enter the sector, the red sector, without being controlled. It was a special control, it's a checkpoint Charlie. It's a very famous point where the Americans could enter, and he had this the passport, the identity cards and the paper, and brought it to the Staatsoper and gave both people the papers. But the boy lived in Potsdam, and when he came to East Berlin, he remarked that there was a person always together with him. When he left the S-Bahn, he followed him, and in the opera he was too. And they sit in the opera, and during the opera he went out to the toilet, and this person followed him. And he knew he was observed. And then we finished the action, and the American brought the papers again back to West Berlin. In West Berlin, the person take off the photos and put in the old. And it was a little bit dangerous because it was not so fastened. We went into the basement, the door was open, and we had the plan of the basement in our head. We had to learn it, and because it was absolutely dark, suddenly there was a flashlight in front of us, and there was a policeman. And he asked us, "What do you do here?" And we said, "We don't know where we are. We came from West Berlin, but we took not the right scale, the right stair, and now we are here. Can you help us?" And he said, "Yes, I help you." And he brought us to the stair, and we always thought in the last moment he will catch us and say, "Yeah." But nothing was. We could go out, and together with the person who came from West Berlin, we go together with them through the control and had our second paper. And then we had to make the changement with the paper, with the pictures, and bring this back to East Berlin. And so the boy and the girl had normal paper and normal identity card from West. And so they could leave the East sector. Some months later, we heard of the parents of the girl we brought over the border. They want to leave the sector too, together with he and his wife and the brother of the girl, 3 persons. And the paper that was finished, but we heard of a tunnel in the north of Berlin between Pankow and Reinickendorf. It was a Russian sector and the French sector. And this tunnel began in the cemetery of Pankow and ended on the area of the station Schönholz. And we knew the person who had covered the tunnel took 1,000 marks per person who came through the tunnel. And we thought that it's immoral, it's not good, it must be free. But there were the people who made and Schäferhund and so on, we knew this. And one of our co-students, the brother was a high general in the Bundeswehr, he brought 3 guns to Berlin. It was absolutely dangerous because it was absolutely forbidden to have a weapon in West Berlin. 15 years prison. And to hurt a person go over the border, 15 years in the east. So we had the gun. I never had a gun in my hand. I learned to use it. And yes, I had it in my jacket. We went with the S-Bahn to the station Schönholz, and it was heavy, such a gun, and it was always in this way. And I had a paper bag, and I put the gun into the paper bag, and on the paper bag was written, the best beer is Bärenbier of Berlin. And this paper bag was the gun. And then we went to the house where the end was of the tunnel, and we said, we think at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 persons would come. Yes, it's okay, it's okay. You know, 1,000 marks for each. We said, no, in this case, no. And why not? Yes, we know, in this case, not. And then we said, no. And they were absolutely quiet. And we took them out of this house on the platform of the station. We were 3 persons, 3 students. One of us had held the gun to the dog, but we 2 others waited on the hole. And then really they came. When they started the action, people of Pankow, of the east, they went to a cemetery, and between 2 graves there was a hole, but it was not to see. There were branches and snow about, but they knew both graves, and they had a big round thing with flowers and put it on one of the graves as if it's their own grave. But it was not possible to, they saw the hole, but it was not possible because there was a policeman. He went on the way from this end to this end and back and back and back, and they stood there. It's not possible, we must go home. And then the man passed them, and in this moment he opened his pocket in his uniform and took out a package for cigarettes with the name Life. It was an American type of cigarettes, and not in the Eastern. And then they thought, that's a sign he knew what will happen, and he would not see it. And then it was okay. The woman had a very, very expensive coat with pelts and so on, and fantastic. But it was always this, it was dirty, and the man had a coat, the pockets were round. We didn't know what all was round. And then we saw, we remarked, it was a Western mark. He was a very famous dentist in East Berlin, And so it was so dangerous for us, 15 years there or 15 years here. It was not necessary. They had the money.